Hi, Senator Lincoln. I'm too from a farm family in eastern Arkansas, so I'm your neighbor.
Oh, good.
I just want to say that I have a great concern with the government taking on a sixth of our economy. When we looked at the news today in Arkansas, 4 post offices are to be closed. They've salvaged, I think, 4. They said originally 8. President Obama has often stated that the government program can exist alongside private, and he uses the example of the post office and FedEx. But I can mail letters, and they don't always get to their destination timely. But on FedEx, I can order something and track it from China to Alaska to Idaho to Memphis to Pine Bluff to my house. So I don't know if the government can't be so efficient and effective with the mail, how they could efficiently and effectively administer health care. I think there's a little bit of concern in that area. But I have another question concerning the health care bills that come through. You haven't voted yet, but I know you will be presented with one. This past summer, Ruth Bader Ginsburg talked about the Roe versus Wade and said that she felt at the time when that decision was handed down, it was to affect specific populations, and it has been a terrible genocide against the African American population. And I know that you're not in support of federally funded abortions, or I've heard that in the news, I believe. Will you guarantee that you will not sign a health care bill that does not have, unless it has preventive language in it, to say that the government will not federally fund abortion? I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, just let me answer that one first, but I would like to go back because you've used a great example in the post office, which I'm a big fan of because I lived on a county road. And, FedEx isn't going to deliver a letter to me 6 days a week for 44 cents. And that's important, but it's a very important analogy. Absolutely. When it comes to the issue of abortion, anything that's been talked about already, and I shouldn't even say that because it's been talked about in other places and I wasn't there. What's been talked about in my committee is that there will certainly be language to reinforce the Hyde Amendment, which is the current law. Current law is that federal dollars cannot be spent on abortion, except for the case of rape and incest and the life of the mother. But current law, which is Congressman Henry Hyde, who I served with in the House, and that will be reinforced in the language, that federal dollars will not be used and cannot be used for abortion. Now, just to make sure you understand, too, that it will also specify that any assistance, any federal dollars that would be offered as assistance to people to purchase health insurance would not be able to be used to purchase health insurance that covered that. So no federal dollars would be used for health insurance that covered abortions. So that's clear. You use the post office. It's a good example because what we have to do is eliminate the inefficiencies and create an environment for competition. Post office $10 billion right now. And the problem is it is mandated to deliver mail to every American
6 days a week. It can't be competitive because it is charged with doing something that its competitors are not. When I travel across the state, I pull into, a small community with at the post office to go see the postmaster, and there's a UPS truck or a Federal Express truck out there. And I always say, what are they doing? Well, we deliver their packages. Because we deliver every day to Aunt Sarah out on that county road. And it's cheaper for them to bring the package here and let us deliver it than to put the wear and tear on their vehicles, the time on their workers to get that package out there. So the problem with not having competitive plans in the exchange is that everybody will dump the dirty work on the government, which is what's happened there. And they can do that because the government mandates that the post office has to deliver those things. And so it's very careful. We have to be very careful
And that's why I tell people about making sure that we don't create a new mandatory government option, because what's going to happen is people will put, whether it's employers or whether it's insurers or anybody else, they're going to put the sickest in that government mandated plan. And that means there's going to be an imbalance, and those groups will have the healthier people, and the less healthy people will be stuck with the government paying for that. So we need to create competition in there to make sure that that doesn't happen. But those are two very good questions. I appreciate it. Yes,
210. Is there?
oh, good. Right back there.
Senator Lincoln, thank you for holding this town meeting. I want to do a quick follow-up on your answer to the lady's question. Her question, I believe, if I'm understanding right, I'm kind of slow, so you have to kind of be simple with it.
No. Sometimes I rattle.
Her question was, would you vote for a health care bill if it had language in it that could support abortion with federal dollars?
No.
And you would not?
No, I support current law.
Okay, so
which is that it would not, that federal dollars will not go.
But so if a bill came up and it had language in it to support abortion, you would vote it down?
Right, it's not going to come up. I mean, there's enough people that people know
if it did.
Yes, I just told you. Yes.
Okay, good. All right, make it clear.
Sure.
Okay, good. My second question is, my understanding is this health care bill is huge. I've seen it's like two big 3-inch binders of it. Have you read the whole thing?
1,300 pages.
I haven't gotten a bill.
No, ma'am.
There is no bill. There is no bill that I've been presented with. I'm not here to defend the House bill. I'm not here to defend the bill that came through the Senate Health Committee.
But there's one around the health care bill, correct?
There's one that came through a House committee, I think 2 House committees, and there's a bill that came through the Senate Health Committee. But I don't sit on any of those committees, and I'm not defending those bills. I'm writing a bill myself with the members of the Senate Finance Committee, and that's the bill that I'm focused on. So I don't defend those bills. I didn't write them. I'm not going to have to vote on them because those House bills will never come before the Senate.
Well, that's not my understanding. What's this?
Well, and that's important because you know what? You are in the majority, quite frankly. Most people think that the bills that are out there are something that either I have seen or I've dealt with. I mean, I can see them. I can pull them up on the internet. But it's pointless for me to comb through a 1,200-page bill that I'm not going to vote on when I've got an opportunity on your behalf, sitting on the Senate Finance Committee, to actually write a bill. And that's what I'm doing. But it's true that a lot of people think that those bills there are something that are going to come before me. Those House bills will more than likely never come before the Senate. The Senate will produce its own bill, and it'll come to the Senate floor. It's got to first come out of the Senate Finance Committee because it's got to be paid for. And once we finish our bill in finance, it will go to the floor of the Senate, where it will be dealt with there with amendments in the democratic process that allows people to add to it. And then it'll be conferenced with a House bill. But it more than likely won't be one of those 2 bills that the House has. But you should not apologize, because let me tell you, you're in the norm there.
But now, this, you said it's a 1,200-page health care bill, right?
There was one that came out of the House committee that was 1,200 pages.
Okay, is it still active?
There's several others.
Is it still active? It hasn't been voted down. It's still up there. There's a good chance of coming to the Senate?
No. That's what I'm saying. It won't come to the Senate. The House bill came out of a House committee, and it may be brought before the body of the House, and the House might vote on it, but it won't come to us because we'll produce our own bill in the Senate. Now, those bills will have to be conferenced at some point to come up with a bill that will go back to both bodies. But I will never have to vote on that House bill that comes out of the House, more than likely. I mean, that would be, they never do that. They never send us their bill unless it's a very simple bill. We create our own bills, and then those bills get merged. Is that helpful?